forum to chip into this discussion. We want to make it interactive and responsive and as engaged as possible. Thank you very much. CS Mbadi, you have the floor.
Thank you very much.
The Cabinet Secretary for, where is Alfred? He's left.
Yeah, he has just left. He informed me that he has another meeting at 9. So
who can be a good timekeeper? I wanted him to be timekeeper. CS Ogamba, you're the timekeeper. CS Mbadi has 10 minutes. And thank you, Ambassador Growth, for cheering Harambee Stars. I saw you at the stadium.
Thank you, Your Excellency. And in the interest of time, Your Excellency, you will allow me to ride on the protocols already established so that I go straight into making my presentation. As usual, presentation on financials and economy tend to be detailed, but I will try as much as possible to make it simple and summarized. So, despite the fact that we've had a lot of external and internal shocks coming from COVID-19 and then immediately thereafter the geopolitical dynamics, the war in Ukraine, the war in Middle East, and recently the trade wars that we have witnessed, especially between the two world leading economies, still Kenya has managed to register an average growth of 5% in the past 3 years. Last year, 2024, the growth went down a little bit to 4.7%, and we know why, because we had a lot of internal shocks. But now, the first quarter of 2025, our economy grew at 4.9%, which is the same percentage of growth as the same period in 2024. And we project that the economy will grow in this year, 2025 into 2026 at 5.3%. This is informed by the diversification of our economy. That's why we are seeing resilience in our economy. Agricultural sector constitutes about 22%. Transport sector, we are fairly diversified. Manufacturing sector is at contributes 7.3% of our GDP, but that needs to go up, and that is the intention of the government. Now, in this first quarter of the year, agriculture and public administration showed the highest growth. Agriculture at 6%, higher than 2024, which was 5.6%. And of course, I've shown clearly, you will move with me very fast, I've shown clearly how our economy has been growing. The dip was in 2020 during COVID, then 2021 was the sharpest growth because of the low base rates. Moving to the next, and I hope I may not be looking behind, so you will have to move very quickly with me. Inflation has stabilized at around 4.1%, down from 4.3% the same period in 2024, but again, far much down from 9.6% in October 2022. I have shown clearly that energy prices have been going down or declining, and food prices have also gone down, but now have started showing signs of elevation. We have demonstrated between a comparison from November 2023, July 2024, and July 2025. If you compare the prices of basic commodities from July 2024 to July 2025, there is a bit of elevation, but from November 2023, you see a reduction in prices of most basic commodities. It's even further if you checked how the prices were early 2023 and late 2022. Moving to the next slide, we have demonstrated interest rates have been declining with the easing of monetary policy by the Central Bank of Kenya, and the governor is here. The interbank rate has declined to about 9.6% in July 2025 compared to 13.2% in July 2024. The 91-day treasury bill, that is the borrowing rate by the government, has consistently come down from 2024. You can see in July 2024, it was 16%. That is the rate at which we could borrow in the market, in the domestic market for the 91-day treasury bill. Today, and the last rate last Thursday was at exactly 8%. That is 50% of the rate. So we presently are borrowing cheaply in the domestic market. Lending rates have also followed suit. The rates at which banks are giving loans to the private sector and individuals has come down in terms of averages. From November 2024 to July 2025, it is 17.2% to now 15.3%. Credit extension to the private sector had shown almost negative growth. Actually, if you look at that graph, you'll see that in December 2024, January 2025, it was even negative. But now we have started seeing that the credit uptake by private sector started going up, growing at 2.2% in the year to June 2025. But that is now coming to the latest, I think, is about 3.3%. The next slide is about why we have shown resilience as an economy. It's because our current account deficit has been shrinking, and I'm sure we understand what current account is. When the deficit shrinks, it is better for our economy. Exports have been growing at about 7.7%. Diaspora remittances have shown a growth of about 12%. So those two combined have helped to narrow and reduce the budget deficit. In terms actually, if you check at that graph, you will see that from March 2024 to date, the shilling has been exchanging to the dollar at an average 129.2 and fairly stable. You can see the graph is flat. But you could see a spike early 2024, and that was because of the risks that we exposed ourselves when we indicated as a country that we may not be able to service the Eurobond that was falling due in June 2024. But after de-risking the Eurobond by buyback, then the shilling strengthened. I have given indicators at the capital markets showing very clearly that the capital markets is showing very good stability. This is clearly a reflection of confidence in our economy and also the FDI flows into the economy. We move to the risks situation, and I would say that still, despite all this rosy picture that we are painting, and it's not just a rosy picture being painted, but is the reality, but still we are at serious fiscal risks. We are continuing to register or record revenue shortfalls. We are still encountering delays in expenditure disbursements, accumulation of pending bills. The debt service cost, which I'll come back to later, is still high. We failed to receive planned external financing from World Bank and IMF, and even part of the UAE loan that we were supposed to get. There's still volatility. Collection was below target by about 67 billion, mainly on account of ordinary revenues that underperformed by 76 billion. So you'll see that other sources of revenue, non-tax revenues, performed much better. Expenditures were also below target by 81 billion. That is in line with our shortfall in revenue. So in terms of budget deficit, it was at 5.8%. The budget deficit... Yeah, the budget deficit, I don't know whether 2 minutes will be enough for me, but I'll try fast. 12.9%. That is not very good. So that's why we are coming up with tax reforms to make sure that we take our ordinary revenue as a percentage of GDP to a high of, we think we can go to above 17%. I can jump some of this and go to fiscal reforms. Just move to the fiscal reform. But before I go to the fiscal reforms, allow me to mention that our percentage of development budget, development expenditure, which is financed from GOK funds, has been going down gradually. Up to now, only 9.2% is what we are spending on the money that we collect on development. That is not good news at all. And so I would tie it to the low absorption of development partner funding, Your Excellency, that we depend a lot on development partner funding, and therefore if there's also a challenge there in terms of absorption, then our economy will just generally not grow because the development will be affected. We are crowding out our development budget because of recurrent expenditure. We are spending now 48% of our ordinary revenue in servicing debt. So this is something that we must reverse. So allow me just to mention that there are a number of reforms that we are carrying out. These reforms will help us save on expenditure wastages. And that is why we are coming up with, first, we are changing our accounting system from cash to accrual basis so that we can capture all assets and liabilities. We have adopted zero-based budgeting. We are adopting single treasury account, or treasury single account. We are also implementing e-procurement. And I know my friend, my fellow FCPA and governor for Wajir, who is the chairman of COG, you have made a passionate appeal that we allow counties to still continue using manual or alternative method. I want to say, yes, I will look at, I've already seen your letter, we are looking at it, but I want to be very categorical. Your Excellency, we have no choice. We have to go e-procurement. And it must be disruptive. If it is not disruptive, it is not serving the use for which we are putting it. And so, instead of trying to get back to manual, let us see how to make it work. And already we have trained over 94% of those who are supposed to use this system. So there should be no excuses. I am committed to this, and we are going to make sure that e-procurement is implemented in the entire government, both national and county government, with no exception. And I want to appeal even to the Council of Governors. Look at this integration of a payroll system, which the executives at the counties are still delaying us on. It is useful and helpful to the governors. Your officers down there are paying so many ghost workers. We are helping you. So just allow this integration to take place. It will save you a lot of resources. This e-procurement will save you a lot of resources. You will do so much for your people until if you are going for re-election. Unfortunately, Governor, I think you are not going back for re-election. But those who will be going back for re-election will find it easy because there will be a lot of disposable revenue to spend. So e-procurement, Your Excellency, allow me to push it. And support me in pushing it very hard. There will be pushback, but I want to push on with the e-procurement. Let me end by just mentioning that there are so many reforms that we are implementing. We are also implementing, or rather adopting PPPs as a model to help us save money that would otherwise go for major infrastructural projects, will now go for the social interventions that we may need for our people. I think, then of course there are state-owned enterprise reforms that we are undertaking, and even securitization. Let me end by going back to this e-procurement. I know that one of the contention that is currently being pushed is that Parliament revoked. If there is any government officer out there who is going to use that as an excuse, please know I'm not going to buy it. Parliament has not revoked anything, because the question I want to ask, we are implementing IFMIS as an accounting system. Why is that? Why hasn't it been revoked? Can't you ask yourself? I have issued circulars on zero-based budgeting. I have issued circulars on treasury single account. When I issue circular on e-procurement, people have a problem with it. And all these are circulars from the National Treasury. It's because people have interest in procurement. That is the truth. They still want to go back to manual and manipulate procurement, where they pluck papers from the tender documents. And that is what we are not going to allow. I was hired to bring change. In fact, Parliament vetted me. And one of the things that I committed to Parliament on was to bring e-procurement in government. And they congratulated me for that. So how Parliament can turn around now to say that e-procurement is violating the Constitution? Where is that provision of the Constitution? The Attorney General is here. There is no violation. In fact, the Constitution is very clear that accounting system, procurement system is a function of national treasury. We design the accounting system for government. We design procurement system for government. So there is no excuse. Nothing has been revoked. We did not present anything to Parliament to be revoked. I don't know where they got that document which they were revoking. I have not presented anything to Parliament because there was no legal requirement to present. I issued a circular to government officers to procure through e-procurement, and that is still the position until the cabinet revokes it. Thank you very much.